Namaste all. Such a pleasure and privilege to be meeting you all through this platform, the national webinar on wellness and introspective approach towards lifestyle. And that is the topic, current topic, which is very, very useful to mankind now. How do you approach, how do you change, alter, modify your lifestyle so that you can stay healthy and you can stay safe? Which is the current topic, which is very, very in need topic. And thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, one, and for choosing such a very trendy topic. And I have to make a mention, like the invite letter that I got from the director, Professor Deepak Mane sir, the director, Board of Sports and Physical Education. There was a line in that letter, by Helen Keller, which was there. Such a motivating line. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And isn't that a beautiful statement? Thank you, sir, for choosing that line. And, like that has been a motivating factor for me since my childhood. That together, join hands together, we can help more, reach out to people. Being born as a human being, isn't that the least that we can do? Mm. So, today's topic of discussion that has been given to me is how to enhance the health and wellness in senior citizen through yoga in their sunset years of life and living. More often the senior citizens that I have the opportunity to meet here have this kind of mental fixation that I'm not of use to the society anymore. I have lost all the purpose and meaning of life. So what is there in life for me? Everything is done, everything is over. So, it is kind of having lived such an active life, having lived such a fruitful life, having settled their children and the grandchildren. And now it is like, they have this sense of boredom, a sense of mental fatigue, a sense of physical, wear and tear that is causing the tiredness and whatnot. So isn't it our duty that we have to help them regain that state of joy and happiness and wellness, at least through yoga? That is what we are striving to do from here. So if you permit me, I will start with the presentation. I'll share the screen and let's get started. Yes. So me, Dr. Meena Ramanathan, the Associate Director, Associate Professor and Deputy Director of the Center for Yoga Therapy, Education and Research, CITER, of Sri Balaji Vidyapith. And the topic, as I've already discussed with you. So representing Sri Balaji Vidyapith from Pondicherry. And we have this privilege, we are very, very blessed to have this privilege to be working in a hospital setup. And, like we have a medical college, a nursing college, and a dental college all under one roof. That is a huge campus. And we work in a hospital. So we have this opportunity where, three aspects is what we are doing at our center, focusing on one, the yoga therapy component to the students, to the patients of the hospital. And we have had around more than 67,000 patients visiting our center and getting benefited through yoga. And the second aspect we are doing, focusing on, is the education, where we have the courses, right, starting from certificate up to PhD in yoga therapy. And the third component, research, trying to get out the publication, scientific publications, papers, book chapters, abstracts, bridging the experiential wisdom of yoga with the empirical modern science. So what is yoga? You must all have different ideas as to what is yoga. To me, let me tell you, being a yoga therapist, being a consultant in yoga, being in this field of yoga, Yoga is something which is truly, truly, truly experiential. You need to live, the teachings, the aspects, and the concepts every moment in life. It is not just the hours practice that we do on the mats. So, what is the benefit? Why do we need to do that? Being born as a human being, we have, three different aspects. We have been blessed with a soul and two beautiful instruments guiding, helping the soul, enabling that to have these beautiful experiences. The two beautiful instruments being the body and the mind. So the body, the mind, and the soul, all of them are interconnected. There's a beautiful triangle kind of a thing. They are interconnected, they are interacting and influencing each other every minute. As long as this connectivity is on, as long as this connectivity goes on, the man remains healthy. But due to some reason, if the connectivity is sort of disconnected, loosened out, what happens is that we end up having a lot of conflict, we end up having a lot of disorder or disease in the gross level. So the gross, the subtle, and the subtlest aspect, the gross being the body, the subtle being the mind, the psychological aspect of the living, and the subtlest being the soul, the jivatma, the jiva, the being that we are. So what is yoga doing? It is trying to bring together, to connect, to yoke together all these three aspects of the individual: the sthula, the sukshma, and the karana, the gross, the subtle, and the causal levels of existence. So how do we achieve all this? Because yoga is essentially a discipline, a complete discipline, an experiential discipline. It disciplines your mind, which is sort of very, very difficult to bring under control. Mind more often than not is compared with a monkey. A monkey which is drunken and which is bitten by a scorpion, standing on a tin roof in the mid afternoon. That is the kind of the comparison, the analogy that is normally given to the mind. It is so unstable, it is so shattered, totally out of bounds. And what do we do through yoga? Through the self effort, through the experiences, the scattered mind, that which is totally unbound, we try to bring them, discipline them, and try to connect so that the journey within starts. The connectivity with our own selves. Instead of moving outward, we start moving inward. The journey within. That is what yoga is all about. And as Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Samatvam Yoga Uchate. Samatvam being the state of balance, the state of, equal sama bhava, where physically we say it is the state of homeostasis. All the parameters are in the state of balance. And mentally, psychologically, we say it is the state where you are in the state of equipoise. You are undisturbed. The ends of the spectrum, as we call. The two ends where we are swaying often. But with yoga, we are able to adapt this path of moderation, the path of balance, the stable path. That is what is very, very important, to be in the middle. And the other one, which is very close to my heart from Bhagavad Gita, is Dukha Samyoga Viyogam Yoga Sangnitam. So how do we disassociate ourselves? How do we stay away from those factors that cause pain and suffering? So that is what yoga is all about. So just to mention a few factors influencing health and wellness. There are individual factors, there are environmental factors, individual factors being individual lifestyle, individual attitude, the behavior, and the environmental, the societal influences, the social factors and environment. The other factors, as we age, the wear and tear causing many degenerative changes in the postures in the body, and other genetic factors influencing them. So what is this state of health as defined by WHO? A state of physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being, and not merely absence of disease. It is a dynamic state. It is not a state that we just strive and achieve once and then you can just let go of it. No, that's not so. It is something that we constantly have to keep working on, because every moment as we are interacting with the society, as we are interacting with the world, things keep changing. Hmm? So we have to keep striving towards that state. And this is what Maharishi Patanjali has told us centuries ago, how to attain and achieve and retain that state of health and wellness through Ashtanga Yoga. He's given us 8 beautiful limbs that, like we can follow and adopt, that we can achieve the state of health and wellness through that. The Yama and Niyama for our social health and well-being, and asanas and pranayama for physical health, basically speaking, and pratyahara and dharana for the mental health, and dhyana and samadhi for the spiritual health. And the definition by Acharya Sushruta, the ancient physician, as it goes: samadosha, samagnischa, samadhatu malakriya, prasanna atma indriya swastha ityabhidhyate. So what is health? What is swastha as defined by Sushruta? It is not just a state of metabolic balance, or it is not just the balance of tridoshas or the agnis in our body, the state of metabolism. No, it is not just that. It is more than that, is beyond that. Prasanna, contented, atma, the soul, indriya, your senses, and manas, your mind. So when it can achieve that state of contentment, that state of happiness, that state of wellness, and that is when the individual can be called truly healthy. So if you can see this, the state of health and well-being, it is something like this: the physical well-being, influencing the mental, the social, and the spiritual, and each of them interacting and influencing each other, disturbing the state of well-being in the other aspects also. So it is not different compartments. Each of them influence the other, and any disturbance in one aspect definitely disturbs the whole equilibrium. And we have to keep striving again to maintain that state. So what is aging? Biology says aging is a natural and inevitable process that cannot be prevented or reversed. Very sad that there is no reverse button in life. It is always only the forward button, fast forward. We just have to move on, and all the mistakes that we have done in the past, we can correct them and from not repeating in the future. So the branch of science that deals with the elderly, the seniors, is called as geriatrics, and the same is said in Ayurveda as Rasayana Tantra. So why is activity so important in seniors? So let me just take the example of this. Let's all think, this situation where you're buying a new cycle, the best brand available currently, you buy that and then you bring it home with so much of care, and then you leave, you take, you make a shed for it and you keep it there, and it is remaining there unused and just that undisturbed. Hmm? So what happens after some time? It gets rusted, and it is, you cannot start driving it at all unless and until the continuum is there. You start using it and you start maintaining it. The cycle is not going to be of use now if you just let it be. The same thing happens with the human body. Unless and until we start using it properly, unless and until we give the activity, regular activity, proper activity that we need to be uh, giving every day, mm, to maintain that state of active and healthy uh, wellness. So, what do we need to do? We need to keep doing it. We need to continue doing it. We need to have the mindset, to have the dedication, to have, the sincerity to follow that. Because physical inactivity is a key risk factor that leads to many, many disorders as we age. Because as we age, even if we don't do anything, there is this wear and tear happening. There is the degeneration happening because of so much of usage of the physical body, the musculoskeletal system, everything, is like used up now. So unless and until we grease it properly, it will not be functioning smoothly. So if we don't use it with care, what happens if we don't use it at all? Sedentary lifestyle leads to muscular shortening. There's a lot of stiffness happening, tightness happening, and weakens the whole of the body, and the joints are deteriorated. The flexibility is completely lost. And what happens? The flexibility lost, you're so stiff. And please remember, the physical stiffness influences your mind, and the mind becomes so stiff that the sense of adaptability is lost, and you start of becoming that chida, that we don't need that. We don't need to be that. The joy is gone. The happiness is gone. You are stiff always. Huh? Let us not be pushed into that state. Let us be active, and let us, the activity which leads you into that state of happiness, which will make you less dependent on others. That is going to enhance the quality of life. So a few guidelines. Once we start the activity, I have seen people, who become over enthusiastic, that they start overdoing things. Any form of activity now in seniors, we might have been doing things, like from the young age, but now we need to take care. We need to stop and think twice before doing things. Are we the same that we used to be? Of course, maintaining is what we are doing now. And any form of activity that we take up now, that we adapt now, should not create undue pressure. Say, for example, an aerobic activity, which is going to be jerky and fast. Can we afford to do all those now? We have to take a second thought about that. The movements, the activities that we dedicate to now, it should be very smooth, should avoid all the jerk and fast, quick, undue movements. Excessive stretching, excessive twisting, there should be a limit that we can fix. And we often say in yoga, listen to your body within inverted comma. Listen, stop, be aware. Are you overdoing things? Are you overstretching? That is something we need to be aware of. And I have seen people who do exercise continuously for 3 or 4 hours and then not do anything for the whole week. In elderly people, it is not advisable to do that. Daily, everyday, regular, intermittent practice is better than, like overstraining or overdoing things one day and then not doing it for the rest of the week. And, my personal experience says that group practice, group oriented practice is very, very motivational in the senior citizen, because it gives them, like a motivation, an involvement, a commitment to go and join the group. And because they are in a group of like-minded people who think in the wavelength, the same wavelength, and they vibe well together, and each of them can support each other very well. So it is very, very healthy for them to be in a group of similar thought processing, people with similar thought process. So a group practice is very, very, very good for senior citizen. So coming to the importance of yoga, how important is yoga? As we also, yoga is something which is going to now connect and bind together. So what is the disconnectivity? The body and mind, like, let us just take the simple example. The alarm goes on in the morning. What do we normally do? We tend to put it off, or we tend to snooze it, and just lie down lazy for some more time. The body says, relax, let's take it forward, after we get up. But your mind says, no, please get up. You have so many things to do. And the little conflict between the body and the mind. This is just one small example. But over the day, over the years, you can see the conflict between the body and the mind creating a sort of division, a disconnectivity, that the body doesn't want to do what the mind says, the mind commands. And the mind doesn't want to follow or doesn't want to take up or accept what the body does. So there is more often a kind of a conflict, a kind of a contradiction that is happening, which, drives them apart. So what is yoga now doing? It is trying to bring them together. And who does the trick of connecting them? It is our own breathing. So there are different levels of existence in the human being. The physical level, the gross level, and the level of energy that we activate through the breath, the prana as we call it, the pranamaya, and the level of thoughts, the mind, manomaya, and the level of discretion, where we think, is this right? Is this good for us? And of course, the level of bliss, the spiritual existence. So what is keeping all these different aspects, different levels bound together, connected together? Huh? All these different compartments are put together through the breath, through the energy, through the prana that glues them together, that brings them together, that, binds them together, that holds them together. The prana, that is the life force, the life catalyst, the cosmic catalyst that is there all around us in this universe, that has been existing since the pre-existing times. That prana, that we inhale and exhale, and that we, take in through the water we drink, the food we eat. So the prana that keeps us alive, the prana that leaves us the moment we become the dead body. So the jiva that is kept alive, the prana binds us. So other than all this, what is yoga doing? Physiologically saying, the state of autonomic balance. Nervous system, as you all know, the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system. So yoga influences all these. More importantly, the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic aspects of the autonomic nervous system. Yoga, because of our fast lifestyle, the stress-filled lifestyle, the sympathetic overdrive is often seen. So through the yoga practices, we try to balance the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, because yoga promotes the parasympathetic activation through the vagal tone that brings the balance, the autonomic balance, promoting a sense of physiological functioning. All the systems, all the organs, physiology functioning properly as it is to be. The organs, the interconnectivity enhanced, removing the state of mental fatigue, the state of enhancing the state of jubilance and joy. Your mind is, active. It wants, it's so energetic. Just think of that energetic mind wanting to do, totally so thrilled to do everything mindfully. Hmm? The self effort that we take, the experience that we have through this yoga techniques that we do, enhancing and releasing all those feel good hormones into the bloodstream, the feel good hormones, the endorphins, the enkephalins, the serotonin, the melatonin, the GABA, the gamma aminobutyric acid, and whatnot, taking you into that state of happiness, the state of happiness that is there in your mind, which is so joyful, that you don't have to think about anything else. The state of beautiful connectivity between your body, mind, and your soul, adapting that state of resilience, which we lose. We become so stiff, that rubbery quality, a ball which the bouncy quality that you have, the state of bounciness in your mind, the state of bounciness in your soul. Just think of that energetic state. What happens if it is lost? You lose that state of resilience and you become so stiff. A tree that is so stiff, that refuses to bend and sway, what happens? It breaks. So, can we afford to be that? We have to be adaptive. We have to be resilient, because we are living in a society. We are not just one human being here. We are not an island. We are not alone. We have to be adapting ourselves, in this society, in this universe where we are living with the other uh, aspects, the other human beings. Hmm? We need to understand. And yoga promotes that state of wellness, state of health, removing that state of illness and disease. So how is yoga working? How do these, the techniques that we adapt, how is it going to help us? The first aspect that we get that promotes is the awareness. Awareness of our body, awareness of our emotions. Are we happy? Are we sad? So how do we come out of that state of despair? How do we come out of that state of suffering? Are we, going to retain that? Are we going to stay there? Being aware is very, very important to come out of that. And the focus on the dietary aspects, because yogic diet focuses on a healthy diet, a balanced diet, that is, plant-based diet, the sattvic diet, where lot of energy is availed to us through that healthy food that we eat. The healthy dietary as habits helping us to eliminate all the toxins, the unwanted that we have in the blood. That is eliminated without much effort. Once the toxins are removed, the physiology is functioning. It is all fresh, refreshed, and rejuvenated. That is carried on to your mind, which is refreshed, of course. And the breathing now, of course, like just remember the body mind connected with the breath. uh, the breathing now is so calm and deep. That is again, so naturally, because the toxins have been removed, and you are aware that you need to be doing this. Hmm? Focusing mindfully on the state of, where we are peaceful, the mind is entirely able to focus, and the journey within begins. The breathing helps you to, control, to bring in the outwardly moving senses. The sense organs, the indriya, has this tendency to move outward. We tend to see, we tend to hear, we tend to smell, and moves outward. So now, mindfully, we try to shut all of that. We try to move inwards, focusing on, the peace, the sense of calmness. Mm. And once you are able to focus within, what do the stressors have to do now? You are so strong. You have built a fort. You have fortified yourself that the stressors are so small. It is like the Lilliput in front of Gulliver. It's just insignificant now. That it stops. The stressor doesn't really bother you much anymore, because the way you see things is different, the way you perceive things, because the senses are now moving inward. You accept your shortcomings, your limitations. You know that you are strong in a few factors and you have a weakness in few factors. So you try to enhance your strength and you try to overcome your weaknesses. And you address mindfully that the senses move within and the stressors are not there, and you're completely relaxed, calm and relaxed and tranquil and conscious, that you can take it forward. And you do not have to depend on any external source now. You are self-reliant and self-confident, and you take up the responsibility instead of looking for something, blaming something outside. You are responsible, as a true human being should be responsible for your own health and happiness. And in fact, you influence the others into that state too. So the few yogic techniques which we would be discussing, on the yama and niyama as given by Maharishi Patanjali, the foundation practices that enables you to build a strong building. Once the foundation is strong and supported, you can build anything on top of that. And whatever you build on that is going to stay strong and firm and permanent. So, what are these yama and niyama? The practices that aim at changing your attitude, addressing your attitude. You stop being violent, you stop hurting others by thought, word, or deed. You start analyzing yourself. You know what you can do, you know what you cannot do, and you start analyzing, how can I do this? How do I overcome my weaknesses? And you are clean, which is what we need to be now. Hmm? Clean, not just physically, but mentally also. Pure thoughts that, you are able to let go of what we do not need. And are we holding something that is totally a burden to us? Letting go of all that, and more often giving over to that higher infinite, higher divine powers. And the Shat Kriyas, cleansing the body, cleansing the mind, the jatis and the kriyas, which energizes and creating a beautiful body mind harmony. It's like a beautiful music, a rhythmic music flowing, harmonizing your body and mind, keeping them connected. Asanas, the psychophysiological practices, again enhancing the beautiful state of balance, and extending the breathing techniques, the pranayama, extending the dimension of that energy within and around you. And dhyana, the mindfulness, the meditation state, where you're mindfully within, calm and quiet and focused. And it is that state where you're completely conscious, where you can reach out, and where you can expand, and where you can help everybody around you. So these are the few techniques which we adapt, and not just at the gross level. We are doing all these techniques, practicing all these techniques, utilizing this body, the gross level, and influencing the subtle and the subtlest levels of our existence, the stula and the sukshma and the harana. Again, so yoga plays great importance to the lifestyle. Achar, vichar, ahar, vihar, and vyavahar. Achar being the healthy activities that we adapt to every day. Regular, repeated, rhythmic, everyday practice and everyday activity. Vichar, healthy thoughts, pure thoughts, healthy attitude, rich attitude, which of course changes and addresses your behavior, which is very, very important to have that state of well-being. Ahar, healthy food, healthy plant-based, full, rich, prana-filled food, the sattvic food, and hydration, enough hydration so that the circulation can be enhanced. And vihar, the proper recreational activity. Any activity where you can, stay focused, which leaves you in a state of joy, which makes you happy, which connects you with the environment, which connects you with yourself. Any kind of activity where you can relax, where you can enhance that healing energy from within. That is the proper recreational activity, and not sadly what people think. People think that watching TV is a kind of a recreation. You can think for yourself, is it true? And vyavahar, the healthy relationships, the way we relate to people around us. A few research findings which I thought would be very, very important, authenticating with yoga, scientifically proving that yoga has created, has, like promoted all these aspects, and it has been established through many randomized controlled trials, and it is out published in the society, that the scientific society is also coming to accept all these nowadays. In seniors, they have found improved sleep quality, reduced depression, improved health status, improved hand grip strength, and I'm sorry, reduction in age-related deterioration in the cardiovascular functions, and telomeres are very, very important. Telomere shortening is prevented by yoga because of the enzyme telomerase, which is enhanced by the yogic activity. Because once the telomere gets shortened, it is like you age quickly. Increased telomere length and telomerase activity in life with the lifestyle intervention, which means mainly yoga was adopted along with the plant-based diet. I'm sorry, which has brought significant reduction in psychological level of distress, and the LDL cholesterol is also reduced with such a healthy lifestyle, and enhanced cognitive functioning in elderly. Relaxation response, we are in the state of stress response, stress reactionary state. So now with yoga you have that state of relaxatory response which is evoked, which regulates the brain, related to the emotions, related to the motivation and memory, and decreased sympathetic and improved parasympathetic tone. You remember the autonomic balance that we discussed, promoting the body mind equilibrium, enhancing the emotional self regulation, and shortening of the reaction time. The reaction time is very, very important, because as we age, the reaction time prolongs because of the age related deterioration in the nervous system. Now, the shortening of the reaction time signifies alert state of mind, enhanced central processing ability of the central nervous system, better sense of perception, better enhanced sensitivity and alertness and awareness. And last but not the least, increased hippocampal gray matter volume in the elderly, and a barrier for the age related neurosenescence. Neurosenescence means the deterioration that happens with age. And this is a very recent study that was done in the University of Virginia, USA by Ines and Self and their group. A lot of studies, as you can see, has been done, the randomized controlled trials, and it has been established that yoga prevents the cognitive decline. And the findings being improved cortical thickening, improved gray matter volume and density, improved cerebral blood flow, improved memory, cognitive functionings and efficiency, and no or reduced age-related cognitive decline, all leading to that state of health and wellness. So we have this yoga marga which prevents the disease and promotes wellness, taking you into that state of sukha, that state of, wellness. It is a little difficult. It is. It has to be done with dedication and sincerity. It is not so pleasant, but it is long term, and it is fulfilling, and it takes you. It is kind of a health deposit for us to use in future. It's good, but maybe not pleasant, but it helps you to evolve into the better state. And on the other side, you have the Boga Marga, which is nothing, which is very, very simple. You can continue doing whatever you're doing. There is no need to be, hard and fast with anything. You don't have to stick to any rules, regulations, just be what you are. But it leads you into the state of disease and suffering, dukkha. It is pleasant, it is happy temporarily, but it is not good on the long term. So you have Yoga Marga on one path and you have Bhoga Marga on one. This leads you into, a level where you can be connected. You can promote yourself. And what does the Bhoga Marga do? Demotes yours. So the choice is entirely ours. So just to enable you to have that experience, if you can see in the screen, you can see the star which is moving up and down. So adjust yourselves in your chairs, wherever you're sitting, wherever you are. Just make yourself sit straight, sit erect, and just eyes closed, keeping your hands together, interlocking your fingers like this, keeping it on your lap, and eyes closed. Visualize a beautiful energy that is starting right from the base of your spine and moving up slowly along your spinal column, moving up to the top of the head. A beautiful dazzling light. As you breathe in, it starts moving up to the top of the head. As you breathe out, it moves down. Breathing in, visualize that beautiful light within. As you breathe out, moving down. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out, in, out. Gently bringing your hands in front of your chest into a namaste. Namaste, this signifies that you're connecting your left and the right sides. The right side connected to your left brain, the left side connected to your right brain. Now bringing them together in front of your chest, connecting the hemispheres of the brain, interconnectivity, enhancing the stability, enhancing the sense of balance, the ability to, stay calm, stay balanced in any situation. Just feel that beautiful energy, the prana that promotes the state of wellness and well-being, enhancing that prana within, enhancing that connectivity within. Namaste also signifies that I bow down and respect the divinity within myself and in all of you out there listening to this. So bowing down to all that divinity that is around us in this universe. What is out there is within, and what is in here is out there in that expanse. It is the same energy that is there and here. And experience that beautiful harmonizing flow, harmonizing sense of oneness that stays you within you. You are one and you are one in this society, in this universe that stays you, that helps you to stay connected within and around. So a few concluding remarks. Old age can be made not just bearable, but also joyful and pleasurable. And yoga enables, maintain, and attain that state of sukha sthanam, the state, the state of comfort, the zone of comfort, uh, that extends inward and outward, the state of physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual well being. This is a state which you have to strive to attain. It is a dynamic state. And once you attain there, it is not just enough to let go of it. We have to maintain that. Hmm? So just think about, what is it? Thought to ponder. Hmm? The practice of yoga is not as easy as swallowing a pill, a medicine, but it is worth all that effort. 10 minutes, 15 minutes of, dedicated, sincere effort that you can take. Hmm? The reward that you get is invaluable. It'll definitely enable one to understand how they may be reacting to the world around. We are human beings wearing blinkers all the time, like how the horses have blinkers. We can only see what is right in front of us. We do not see what is around us. We fail to see the other perspectives. We fail to understand the other perspectives. So now with yoga, it helps you to be aware that you are not just one being, you have others around, and how you can expand your perceptibility, and helps you to respond from a different perspective. So old age is not a matter of years, but it is a condition of your mind. You are as old as you think in your mind. You can be ever that sweet 16, huh? And retain that state. Mind influences. So it is a strong instrument that can influence your body. What is in the mind is in the body. If you think you are 16, the body will, respond to that. The mind can command you, your body, your gross level of existence, to take it up, and you will remain that active and that joyful and that jubilant and bouncy individual ever. Huh? Yoga adds not just a few years to life, but life to those sunset years. Thank you so much for your patient listening. A few references from which I have prepared these slides. Uh, my email ID and my phone number I have given here in the screen. Any of the doubts that you have, we'd be more than happy to clarify them. And anything that you need in future, please don't hesitate to approach me. Thank you so much, and wishing you all a healthy, healthy living and a healthy, healthy, happy, happy being. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And we'll be meeting once again. The world is so small, and more, I'm sure, and I'm hopeful that we will definitely be meeting each other very soon, and constantly be meeting each other also. Thank you. Namaste, and bowing down to all those people who have been with me throughout and listening to me. Thank you so much.